everyone in new episode of Marwa Khalid podcast, where we talk about how we can rebuild Sudan, not just physically, but humanly and also culturally and in all aspects. We always said that in this space we're gonna have a conversation about, and especially that it will be honest conversation about how we can uh, build Sudan and be positive and help one another and heal together so we can bring better Sudan. And to rebuild Sudan, to bring better Sudan, first we need to address all the violations that been happened against all kind of human rights in Sudan. And those are a lot. But today there is an important category that I think it's the most important category. It's the women and girls in Sudan who face different and many types of violence against all kind of things. I cannot even say it's, I feel even I cannot find the word to speak about this. So today I'm so honored and happy to have with me someone who could talk to us and give us a powerful call for action. Today I'm so happy to have with me the new appointed Minister of Social Care and Human Resources, Dr. Sulaima Sharif. Hello and welcome in Marwa Khalid podcast.
Thank you for the uh, thing. And I was supposed to come to the meeting or this interview just talking about my role as a commissioner of combating violence against women. But I just get appointed on the same day. So, yeah,
Congratulations. Congratulations. It's a huge responsibility, but I know that you are able to do this, and we will be behind you, supporting you to make sure that everything is great and you do a fantastic job from now.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad here to talk about women and girls in Sudan situation and what's happened to them during the last 2 years of continuous conflict.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sulaima. So to dive in to the question, and actually I'm writing it down so I don't forget any question, because everything related to this subject is very sensitive and it's very important. So through your work in documenting violence against women during war, what is the major trend or pattern you saw in your report or noticed through all the data, and also your team noticed in how all of those things happened? What is the major trend or pattern in this?
War itself is a violations because for women and girls, war create a different realities where they could be having difficulties to access services, access safety. Their safety and their security will be jeopardized. So mainly think the war itself is one of the violations, and then forcing women and girls outside of their houses and looting their properties, their saving, and everything they have. Those are the main things, and even losing their lives. But the main trend that what happened, it was most of the um, uh, heinous violation that's actually women and girls in Sudan encounters is using the conflict-related sexual violence, because conflict-related sexual violence is used as weaponized and structured weapon against women and girls in Sudan, mainly by the RSF. Although there are different individual cases that happen by other people, it could be within SAF or within other individuals who just got weapons, but the systematic structure, crimes using sexual violence in all forms of sexual violence is mainly done by the militia of the RSF, where they have been using, because when you say conflict-related sexual violence, you mean all this kind of types of sexual violence related from rape, sexual slavery, to forced pregnancies, forced sterilizations, forced marriages, abduction, and trafficking. So it's the main thing, and I'm very sorry to say that, but all types of conflict-related sexual violence have been done in Sudan against women and girls.
This is like beyond even to describe how people or maybe the victims feels. I don't even imagine how I can put myself in this position. And I've been in the war zone, and I saw and I faced difficulties even get out of Khartoum, because I felt like I will be a victim myself when I saw how those people look at you as predators, and they just want to kidnap you or do something to you. So me myself, I experienced this. But from your experience and from your document reports, can you share with us example or story from the people they spoke to you, witnesses? You don't have to say names, of course, Your Excellency, but any stories that we can reflect to the world, tell them about what's going on in Sudan.
Actually, when you say Khartoum specifically, because when Khartoum was mainly being controlled by RSF, what happens that women fear, like you, fear that this kind of sexual encounters could happen to them. So they took a safety measure, and this safety measure was like they stay together. يعني two
Yeah.
women, two households, they will stay together, seeking safety by being together, and they don't leave houses. They thinking that it will save them, but actually, what happened mostly in Khartoum, Al Jazeera, and Darfur, most of those cases and incident of sexual violence happened inside houses, which is very traumatizing because there was no like conditions.
You feel like the home is supposed to be your shelter, but in the same time, it become the most dangerous. Yeah.
Yes, and then all your memories of your house will be connected to the trauma. And this is most of the thing that's happened. One of the stories that's one of the يعني one day in Khartoum, there was a family, two families or three families stayed together, mostly women. So they decided to stay together using the same food, so they don't have to go out, all this kind of things. And then um, uh, there was RSF group of RSF group. They just come breaking into the house and then accuse all of the women that they are having gold, they're hiding money, and of course saying that you are a fulul and all.
They take it as excuse to just violate more. Yeah.
And then he accused one of the girls that she's hiding her phone. Then he went after her that in the room and he closed the room and he started attacking her. All the women collected themselves outside and they have been begging him to stop, but he did not stop. And we see in Khartoum that when you resist, you get more beating. So you get beaten and then you get sexually assaulted. This is what happened to most of the girls there. And after they finish, they will tell you, they will threat the family. Like in this one incident, they threat the family that if you talk about that, we will come and kill you all of you. And then the family seek health support, and immediately after they had left, because they have some friend that works in the medical field. So the helper, the service provider, came to the house and actually provided the services, tried to comfort the survivor, trying to provide at least some psychosocial support. But the problem is this kind of incident, the family will feel much more like they are part of that crime. They didn't save their own children and or on their own daughters, and then they feel this kind of feeling of guilt because they don't provide any kind of protection. But they couldn't, because most of those men are always armed. Not most of them, all of them, when they came to the houses, they're always armed. And sometimes the beating will happen by the weapon itself. They don't shoot, but they're using the weapon handles of beating the girls and women. So they get beaten and then they get sexually assaulted. This is the
In front of their parents, maybe, or their families. Yeah.
parents are outside, but they know what's happening inside. And it's also in Darfur, it happens like this way. But the difference, they don't call people in Darfur like what happened in Jinena. They don't call them fulul, but they call them. They say that you are privileged today because we are a more in pure
So it's racism now. It's not just about the. So we are making you a favor.
sexual assault. And when they come to Khartoum, they will accuse the girls about like you are liberal, you're not supposed to be screaming, and then you're liberal girls in Khartoum. It's you're used to this kind of practices, like they're accusing them of practicing sex and something like that.
It feels like those people are coming with very angry and very deep evil, and I don't know how to express myself, but I think it's more like they have a revenge or deep hidden revenge against all Sudanese people, especially women.
For a lot of forced marriages,
Yeah.
some of the people there, because they're afraid that the girls will get raped, so
Yeah.
they ask some of the soldiers to come and marry the girls. The problem is the girls are all under 15. Most of them are under 15 years,
So there are children.
11. And then when the marriage took place, it's not marriage. It was part of sexual slavery because they pay money, they pay the dowry, for example, and the girls will have more than sex with more partners. Like
Yeah.
all of the
Five
supposed
or
to be
six
private.
people. 5 or 6 people together. I understand this, and it's very awful, and it's very, and I hope everyone is listening right now to this to know what's going on in Sudan and what's happened in the last 2 years, because many people do not understand this narrative.
The problem is also they don't actually only target just because when it's structured and weaponized, it's all about like breaking in the communities, leaving that scars forever. So they don't even, it's not about age. A woman of 85 could be raped. A 1 year child, female child will be raped. So there is no like, they are focusing on certain age groups. And this does not just have the impact on that that happens at the incident that happened, but because it has been it will have a very long impact health wise, because most of the women and girls could be that had been encountered to sexual violence repeatedly, they could be encountering a lot of reproductive health issues and diseases. Not only that, also they could actually get sexual transmitted diseases, and then they can get HIV/AIDS or hepatitis B.
This is like something is not just something temporary. It's something that will go on with you until your death. So it's really horrible, and that will lead me to ask you, Dr. Sulaima. I know there is documentation. I know there is reports. What do you think the role of the communities and also an institution? And now you are in a governmental position. What kind, and also you have cooperation with the international community and you speak with them. What kind of like how we can do some? What is the process to hold those perpetrators accountable?
The problem is with the militia because it's part of their structure as weapon. And most of the survivors, they couldn't identify who are the perpetrators.
Yeah.
And sometimes because the perpetrators could be so many, could be
Yeah.
7, could be 12 for one incident or one victim. She couldn't recognize them. Some of them did not speak even Arabic. They don't have name tags, so they are unknown. It's just having the uniform, and they have weapons. And it's actually when it happens like that as a war crime,
Yeah.
it couldn't be people couldn't be accountable for when there's also no police, because most of the places where RSF have been controlling, there is no police, there is no protection, and sometimes even health services women cannot actually get health services because health services will be very much far away from the places where they are, or because they left because of the RSF itself threats to the health cadre, or because even sometimes they don't have the kits that the rape kits that actually supposed to be given to the survivors. And sometimes because of the stigma, most of the time, specifically in Al Jazeera and areas like that, the stigma prevents people from reaching out for help unless they get pregnant. And this is the problem will start to be growing something
So
out of yani,
yeah, to grow
they could
out
not
of the yeah.
yes.
Yeah, to grow out of the
Yes.
yeah. So, Dr. Sulaima, I want to ask you something because in this program we are trying to be part of the solution for people who saw the worst and expect the best. What do you think? How we can help as media, as communities, as also girls who feel for other girls and understand the pain that could the other girls who the victims of violence going through right now. What do you think our role? How we can help?
The media could be part of the collective healing, by the way.
Yeah.
Like giving stories of hope, giving stories of resilience, promoting resilience and mental health, giving advices, giving solutions, and speaking about survivor as heroes because this will promote the status within communities. The stigma will be left because when you speak about crimes like that, it's always stigmatized. But when media helping people awareness about not to stigmatize survivors, then those as the survivor will get the respect of the community, the acceptance, and then they could be actually contained with their own communities. And this promote also the healing of the survivor herself and the family surrounding the survivor. The other thing is also how to reflect those kind of news, what's happening. Because sometimes when media is not very wise using talking about gender-based violence, specifically sexual violence, they also could promote stigma itself and could promote family or community denial to that. Specifically, يعني, uh, not being sensitive to the to the community roles of or traditions. Like in some places, because they have this kind of sexual of social pact, they are not talking about all these issues. It's a consent of all community. And then when they like when the media they specify certain villages or something like that, the villages or the people from that town or other town will come and say they will deny that in a statement, even though they know those incidents happened to them. So it wise using media wisely, not just for giving news. It's not about news. It's about like giving
Being part of the
a
solutions, yeah.
solution, like how to help your girls, how to find services, what services you need, and could raise more awareness about the importance of services, the importance of privacy, the importance of reporting, the importance of getting much more comprehensive understanding within the community. And then you could use whatever. And the media
Yeah.
people will always know what the tool they can use it. Sometimes they could provide religious messages about how you contain your own women and girls so they could find help within the community. And sometimes you give them health messages where they could find the support, where the places of the support is, the importance of the support, and getting more awareness.
You know, Dr. Sulaima, we in my podcast here, I will make sure that at least in what I do right now, I will make sure to devote space for that, for people who can talk about health, how we can support communities, anything that we can do. From now, I will stand for this and I will speak about this and I will encourage all other people to do the same, not just in podcast because but in also in radios and other platforms. But for me, from my platform, from now this is done from me. I'm writing it down right now to do it and to be there for you and for other institutions who are trying to help communities and especially for women and girls. Finally, Dr. Sulaima, as I know that you are tired right now, you have a long day, but we will say a final question for you. What gives you hope? What makes you wake up? No, what gives you hope? What makes you wake up in the morning and feel like I can do this, I can continue, I feel like I can spend another day speaking about this? What gives you that?
Get inspired by the women and girls in Sudan resilience and strength. even though they went through a lot, they went through adversities, they went through difficulties, but they're still strong, they're still resilient, they still see hope. And I feel very ashamed when I feel that I cannot be hoping something better is happening. And because women and girls in Sudan, they don't have this luxury of feeling helplessness because their lives is always demanding. The community is demanding a lot of things from them. Their families, they have obligations, and in spite of their pain, they go and do their chores. They do their work. They help and support their communities, despite of what they have been going through. They go through. They went through adversities, through pain, through trauma, through a lot of hardship and difficulties. But in spite of all that, they rose up and they find solutions. They start building new lives. They want to have a new beginning. They still have hope. And I feel ashamed when I feel helpless because those people, those women, they went through a lot, not like me. So I just get inspired by them.
So I'm gonna say to you, together we will find a solution. Together we will build Sudan together as a community, as people, as a stakeholder, as a government, as people on the ground, as media. Together we will help Sudan.
So we have the hope.
So thank you. Yeah, we have the hope, and actually this is the hashtag and also the name of the government. So let's hope for Sudan and be the hope for Sudan and be the change we want to see for Sudan. So thank you so much, Dr. Sulaima. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your patience and your time. And please have a rest today because we know that you have a long day today. So thank you again.
Thank you, Marwa. Thank
So as Dr. Sulaima said that we need to stand for the women and girls in Sudan, I echo what she said and I join my voice to her that we need to learn more about what happened, especially for women and girls, from violations of human rights to them. We need to stand against this, and we will keep speaking about all kind of human rights violation because rebuilding countries start by protecting human rights. See you again in the next episode and in new subject with me, Marwa Khalid. Goodbye.